Welcome back to another episode of Necessary Roughness. I am your guest host for the playoffs. With me, my boy Keebler, Nick, and Johnny Football coming in from the old snowpocalypse up in Minnesota. How we doing tonight, fellas?
What's up? Happy to be back.
Yeah, we're doing good. Bets are all looking good. Can't complain.
Keebler's about to make $2,000. John's going to lose his mind when the Vikings trade Justin Jefferson. Nick's on his way to a Super Bowl, and I'm going to burn the whole Titans franchise to the ground. So I think we're all over the place here tonight.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 of us don't have a playoff team to root for, unfortunately. So maybe we'll back to Bills. I like Bills fans are my favorite to talk shit to on the internet. So it's always a fun talk.
I think that might be because
of
me.
Interwebs.
What do you say?
I said I think that might be because of me, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
No, it might be, but I also just like telling people that Josh Allen commits a lot of turnovers, and Bills fans
I got mad respect for Bills fans after them going to the stadium and cleaning it up.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell the field there was 20,000 feet of snow in there.
Did you see those psychos just sliding down the snowshoes?
Yeah, they were paying $20 an hour too. That's awesome.
And a meal.
I don't know how awesome that is, but yeah.
I think it's pretty awesome. $20 an hour.
I would have done it for $35, but yeah.
$20 an hour to shovel snow for your favorort football team. What else could you ask for?
I mean, realistically,
cool
I would have done it for free, but I'm saying 35 cents is better.
35 cents better, yeah, but you can't complain with 20.
It was cold up there, but they did move down and back. We got them all in though. But before we go playoffs, we are talking coaching carousel with our one and only Johnny Football. Obviously, my Tennessee Titans have an opening. I know he wants to talk about some other ones. So, John, I'm going to let you just take this one and go with it, my friend. I love the old Vikings logo back there is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. My wife drew this.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
Yeah, it was just done one day. I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be interesting to kind of go through, get your guys' opinions on some vacancies, some hot seat guys, and then I thought we'd talk a little bit about the nuanced Brian Flores situation as we start to see all these interview requests come out. He hasn't been on any of those lists, so I guess we can kind of start there with him. He had 3 head coach interview requests, or 3 interview requests last season, 2 of which were for the head coaching job. One with Denver before they pulled the Sean Payton trade, and that was the first domino to fall, and it ended up coming down to head coach in Arizona or the DC job here. Ended up going with the Vikings, and now to this point in the cycle, we haven't heard anything about Brian Flores getting any interviews. Really buoyed a pretty porous unit to 13th in scoring and 17th in yards allowed on the season. Obviously, just this crazy blitz happy scheme he was running was, it's been compared to the Wildcat offense in Miami when they started doing that with Brown and but I think more so than just the on-field stuff, because there were the last 5 weeks were bad. I think to a certain extent he kind of got figured out. He hasn't had the horses all year to play man on the back end. He tried to play press man in the Chargers game in week 3, and Keenan Allen had 200-something yards. So it's kind of one of those things where, if you're judging just the play calling and him from a schematic standpoint and what he was able to do with the hand he was dealt, I think he'd be getting interviews regardless. I think it's still, has to do with him kind of being blackballed by that group of owners with the ongoing lawsuit, which is it's just kind of a weird, nuanced situation, which again, I hope the best for Brian Flores. I hope he gets the highest paying job he can get. But that's good for the Vikings, honestly, if he comes back as the DC, because if he doesn't, there's probably no one else on the planet with the balls to call the defense the way he did, or to really build on that philosophy. And then it would be year 3 with or the 4th consecutive year then with a brand new scheme for or the 4th defensive scheme in 4 seasons for a lot of these guys. So that's cool. But it's just a weird situation, and it's something to kind of monitor, because you'd think he'd be one of the leading candidates of like the defensive guys. But guys like what is his name? Something Graham, the Rams guy, and Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham was with the Rams previously. A lot of the defensive minded guys are getting interview calls, and he's not. I just thought that was a little weird, but I think what would be the most interesting conversation as far as like stay or go, because we know about the vacancies, and we can estimate where certain people might go and what fits, but I want your guys' opinion on Mike McCarthy coming off getting boat raced by his former team at home. They were the only home team to lose this past weekend, and it was super, super ugly. So anybody have any strong opinions on whether they think McCarthy should stay or go right now?
I made a banner for him, so that's
okay.
how I feel about it.
Okay. What do you think, Nick?
So the thing about the Cowboys is that they actually had me fooled this year. I thought they were going to the championship game. And in previous years, I didn't think that. I don't know if it was because Dak started saying, "Here we go," and I got into that. I don't really know if that's why. But I just really got behind him. I got behind the CD, and I love Ferg. But this defense just wasn't big enough. And they had some linebackers out, and so they had to play some safeties basically at linebacker. And when we played them, we destroyed them, and we did this awesome thing that Joe Brady was able to exploit, where James Cook would come from the left, and we would bounce him off to the right, and we'd run right at their little safety linebackers, and he'd get like 10 to 12 yards every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at halftime, I was like, we're boat racing them right now. Are they going to make any adjustments? Or, because you'd think that they would. Like, this isn't going to happen all game. It completely happened all game. And right there, I was like, they are weak. I think they're just weak defensively. They can score as many points as you want them to. But defensively, if you're going to get just dominated like that at the line of scrimmage, championships are won in the trenches. They're not won with sparkle. And, we saw that with fraudulent Miami. We saw that now with Dallas. I think that if anybody should go, it's Dan Quinn, because I thought that was one of the most pathetic performances I've ever seen against us, and then against Green Bay, a team who barely made it to the dance. Nobody was giving any credit towards, and nobody was giving any chance towards. And a guy in Aaron Jones who had 2 touchdowns, I think, all season. Is that correct? And then he had 3 touchdowns in 1 game. That just goes to show how weak that run defense was, and how Dan Quinn I don't know if he didn't have the personnel, or maybe he just didn't want to, he was too stubborn to change anything. But Mike McCarthy's an offensive head coach, and people that are giving Dak flack and giving Mike McCarthy flack, I don't think it's on them. I think it's more on Dan Quinn and that defense, because if you have a defense that can kind of limit Jordan Love in his first playoff game of his career, that offense is going to score enough points to be able to win that game. But I think that Dak just felt the pressure after Green Bay went up right away. They take the ball, they go down, score. That puts a lot of pressure on you, especially at home, especially being the Cowboys and having so many expectations this season. And I think that they were just never able to recover. I think those picks he threw, they were just kind of desperation throws, and not throws that he would have made earlier in the season when things were going well. I was really surprised by what happened in that game and how unfolded. But I wouldn't fire McCarthy. I don't think he got outcoached. I think Dan Quinn got outcoached, and I think that LaFleur just put his foot down on that Dallas defense, and I think that's what ended their season.
Yeah, LaFleur has been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I think any other season he's probably, firmly in that coach of the year conversation. I think you're going to see like D'Amico and
Stefanski.
Maybe like Todd Bowles, Stefanski, I'm sure. There's a lot of teams of that ilk this year, but I think you're spot on with the defensive issues. I mean, Dan Quinn might get head coach interviews if he wants to get back into the HC realm, but I don't know how well-founded those would be. I think from a personnel standpoint, yeah, they were light. We talked in the offseason about how light that front was. Not necessarily the boxes being light, but the people being light. The Osa Digizua is their 3 techniques, like 280, 285. Gallimore, and they don't have a ton of meat in the middle. And I think what Dan Quinn kind of did was take that personnel identity, and instead of try to make up for it in other ways, he sort of leaned into it. There were a ton of plays in that Packers game where the Packers come out in 12 personnel. They were up in the game immediately, so they're going to be trying to run the ball and run some clock, and they come out in 12 personnel, and the Cowboys line up in nickel with a 6-man box in a quarter shell, with 2 deep safeties. With you don't even have a safety in the run. You have your safeties filling from depth, and you've got a light box up front to begin with. You're down. I mean, down 12, down 18. It's just weird. That seems like malpractice. So like I could see them cleaning house, and I could see them bringing back the entire same staff, just given how long Jerry Jones hung on Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
Like he just would not give up on that guy, and that just seems like his attitude.
Yeah, but it's Dallas, so he wants to keep on. He wants to hold on to these guys. Yeah. He doesn't want to turn into one of those franchises that just recycle coaches.
Yep, but the loss being to the Packers, like specifically for McCarthy, and specifically with the history Dallas and Green Bay have in the playoffs over the past decade and a half or so, that was just a crushing loss. As the Cowboys, I guess you can be like, oh, at least the Eagles lost too in an embarrassing fashion, but I just watched both division rivals win games they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely. Well, no, I mean,
that's neither here nor there.
It's just,
it's neither here nor there. But that's an interesting one. Any other strong McCarthy takes?
I mean, I think he should probably be out of job, just given how the Cowboys crumble every single year. I would love to see Belichick take over that team. That's just where my bias.
That'd be a legacy play.
Yeah.
What makes you think Belichick should go to Dallas though?
Just because if you're gonna leave the Patriots, you should go to a team better than the Patriots. And I feel like if Nick Sirianni gets fired, then either the Eagles or the Cowboys could be in the contention for him.
And it's an offense you could be pretty hands off with.
Yeah.
You don't have to rely on Belichick to go find a quarterback and go find a receiver, God forbid, in the first round.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's just my take.
I know the Titans. The Titans interviewed Dan Quinn, so that's fucking lovely.
Oh God!
Or are going to interview him tomorrow.
I can't believe you fired.
Great. That looks real good right now.
How do you guys feel about Sirianni right now?
I think he's fired too.
If you guys remember Kel from who came on the show from the Philly Blitz,
nervous.
He's been aggregating a lot of Philly fan opinions for me on Twitter. I've seen him quote tweet a bunch of stuff, and a lot of them want Sirianni gone.
Wow.
What's your guys' temperature on that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This guy probably should have just won the Super Bowl last season because there was a bad call in that game late in the game. We all know about it, and that would have led to his Philly Super Bowl. You're a Super Bowl champion, and if a better call is made, and then 1 year, they were undefeated, they went 10-1, they crumble. Things like that happen. I think that at some point people just realize that we can just blitz the hell out of Jalen Hurts and he doesn't make any adjustments. It's kind of the same, in my opinion. I saw this in Dallas, you can just run at them. In Philly, you can just blitz him, and it's the same result. You're going to get 10 to 15 yards on the ground, and you're going to get like 5 to 6 sacks a game and completely disrupt everything they're trying to do. So I just feel like that's coaching, but that's maybe something that can be changed. But in Dallas, the reason I think Quinn is on the hot seat there is because that's not coaching. That's coaching and personnel. That's like you don't have the guys, and you also can't make adjustments. I've seen my coach Sean McDermott all season. He lost Matt Milano, Trey White, Daquan Jones. Now we lost Terrell Bernard, and we're still a top something unit. He's a defensive mastermind. Not to glaze my own coach, but it's just insane that it continues to be a top unit. You'd think at some point we give up 40 points, and it hasn't happened all season. I think that when you have something with a DC, he's able to make, a bad personnel look better than it is. And that's what Belichick always used to do for the Patriots, right? They used to not have the best guys on offense, but how is, Danny Woodhead always getting so many yards, James White getting so many yards.
David
but he
Gibbons,
is, right? Yeah, so I think that Dan Quinn doesn't do the most with little, and I think that somebody else could come in and potentially do that, like a Belichick. I agree with Zach. I think that Belichick could come in and do the most with little. So I think Quinn should be out. But Sirianni, he was just in the Super Bowl. He had another winning season. I think you give him another chance. I think you can't fire him that fast. You have to have a losing season before being fired.
Yeah, I think it's a weird thing where you're always weighing expectations to performance as opposed to performance relative to the league or relative to other contending teams. So I think, especially as a fan base of a given team, people can be a little trigger happy there. There's a sect of every fan base that wants the current coach gone at any given time.
The grass isn't always greener, man.
Yeah, I think what happened with Philly is I think some of it falls on Sirianni, sure. But a lot of it is to the entire organization. I think they underestimated and downplayed the impact of losing both of your coordinators in one off season.
Yep.
And in addition, letting your linebackers, who were diamonds in the rough that you found, retreads in TJ Edwards and Kaiser White, who played out of their minds last year,
right,
and did so elsewhere this season. You let them walk, and you bring back Nicholas Moreau, and you retread him, and you're like, okay, we'll be fine there. Let's trade for Kevin Byard. Let's hope these giant slow.
Did not work out.
Yeah, let's hope these giant slow safeties stay healthy. Let's hope these old slow corners have just enough juice left, and then we can get right back here. I think that had a much bigger impact than they thought it would. Instead of going out and getting another OC who can take this group to the next level, they promote internally with Brian Johnson, the former quarterbacks coach, and it doesn't seem like he was ready for prime time. It was, like you said, Todd Bowles could send 0. He could send 6, send 7, 0 blitzes, and they couldn't adjust. Jalen Hurts had nowhere to throw hot. They didn't expose the middle of the field. A lot of their offense is hopefully Devontae Smith or AJ Brown can win a jump ball, and you only had one of those guys. He won some jump balls for you, but you didn't have enough juice to keep it going. And the defense, the only time they won was in like certain passing downs where that front was really able to pin its ears back. And, the secondary just was not good enough. The linebackers were not good enough. And I think they thought that, we can really moneyball the spine of this defense and get away with it. We're going to draft trenches and that'll absolve us of all our sins on the back end. And it really didn't this year. And you just got embarrassed by Baker Mayfield and the boys at home. So I think the weight of that is something that people are just trying to direct anywhere. Like that Philly fan base is just,
They want to point the finger at somebody, right? I don't want to point it at my quarterback. I don't want to point it at my defense. Let's point it at the head coach.
Yep.
Well, Well, I feel like
Yep.
with Sirianni too, like during the season, there were reports that came out that he lost the locker room right before the game.
Yeah, well, the AJ Brown stuff is weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Hurts had made a comment or something that was like, "Oh, they haven't put the offensive scheme around me that they should have, or that he's been wanting," which has been attributing to him playing bad. So, given those, I feel like it could also be a coaching problem because if your quarterback's saying that they haven't adjusted to his play style accordingly, then that could be a problem. But I don't know. I personally feel like it's on Sirianni, but I'm a biased NFC East fan, so.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So who do you want them to hire? Who's better?
Well, Belichick would be the obvious answer.
Belichick's not just like he's not God, by the way.
There's Vrabel, but you got to put a pretty good offensive staff together. Probably we've seen how he's done when his premier offensive coordinators get poached.
Arthur Smith's free though; he can go with him.
Arthur Smith could be free. There's, Ben Johnson.
Ooh, maybe. Ooh, yeah.
He's coming to Tennessee.
I love Ben Johnson.
Knock it off.
So it's tough. I'd love Ben Johnson in Atlanta too. Last thing I wanted to ask you guys before I jump. I like to get some NFC North stuff off when I can.
Yeah.
So rumors swirling around the number one pick, deja vu for Chicago this offseason. And I just saw a rumor today that they requested to interview former Ravens offensive coordinator Greg Roman, who was there before Todd Monken took over. And one thing that I think that sort of points to for a lot of people is, maybe this is them leaning into Justin Fields. Maybe that hire is them saying, okay, we saw Greg Roman build a pretty competent offense around Lamar Jackson with, frankly, league's worse weapons around him than what Justin Fields will have, especially considering they could bring in a Marvin Harrison Jr., they could bring in a Malik Neighbors high in the draft. Do you think that, in that situation, because there's also been weird things about Caleb Williams saying he has declared by now, but prior to declaring, he said he wasn't going to declare until he had confirmation that the Bears were trading the number one overall pick. That came from his camp. I don't know how credible any of it is, but, there's all that kind of stuff. If he is okay with going to the Bears and he doesn't Eli Manning them, how do you guys feel right now? They finished a little strong. Would you get an OC who you feel like can maximize Justin Fields and take that number one pick, move back a few spots? You still have number 10 as well, and build around Justin Fields. Or would you take him, flip him, get a couple of seconds, and then you're still sitting on the number one pick and you can get Caleb Williams, or if they want to Frank Reich it, they can say they like Drake May better. Where would you guys go, do you think, right now with how Chicago looks?
I'll go first because I've been thinking about that one for a while because I'm actually a huge fan of Justin. So I've never believed and never bought into the whole notion that if you've got somebody and you don't have much around them, you can't just take another guy from college and just put him in, insert him, and say, okay, now you're going to try to do this with this team, and then he's going to be a star. Like, I really don't. I think Caleb Williams is a very, very, very incredible talent, and he's one of the best quarterback prospects we've had. He probably goes in that, Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence type, category. But I still don't believe that a guy like that can just transcend the Bears offense to being elite. And it would take some time. And I think it takes some time with Justin. So why not just keep somebody you have, loves your city, has bought in, the fans have bought in. I know that. I have some Bears fans. They like Justin Fields. And Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the best wide receiver prospect of this generation. So why would you not try to pair a guy like DJ Moore, who Justin has had a great relationship with and a connection with, pair him with Marvin Harrison Jr., who looks like he's going to be a top 5 receiver in at least 2 years, and just kind of try to build that defense as well. And then you have an incredible attempt at a successful 9-10 win season in a few years. I just don't understand why you'd take Caleb Williams. But Zach or James, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I agree with that. I mean, Justin Fields has been scapegoated in Chicago. I would love to see him in like a new situation just for like his own sake. And along with that, I would love to see the Bears' downfall going with Caleb Williams. I think he's pretty overhyped in my own opinion, but we can agree to disagree on that. But I think Caleb's a system quarterback, and if you're going to plug him to that Bears system, you're not going to see a whole lot of success. But I would love to see Justin Fields with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that would be the ideal for like the average fan. But if they're going to scapegoat Justin Fields and then move him out, I would love to see him in like give him a chance with like maybe the Broncos, maybe the Raiders, somewhere like that where he can like build with that team and then go there. But if the Bears want to be smart, you keep Fields, draft Harrison Jr. and then go from there.
I love Fields potentially. So like I love Justin Fields. So like I want the best situation for him. I think the best situation for him is staying and them getting Marvin, right? But if they don't want to do that and they want to try to do that Josh Rosen, Kyler Murray thing where they're like, okay, you suck, we're just going to go with a new guy. Fair. Like some teams want to do that. I'd love to see him with Atlanta because Atlanta, they are looking at Bill Belichick as a potential coach. Mm-hmm. And I just saw a report today that said Belichick is trying to go to a team that is has a lot of talent, but they underachieve. That reminds me of either the Chargers or the Falcons because you have Kyle Pitts, who was supposed to be a generational tight end. I'm just calling everybody.
You've seen flashes.
Still can't be. Apparently, I'm just calling everybody generational. But anyways, and they have Bijan Robinson, who was touted to be the best running back out of that draft last year. You got Bijan, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Drake London, and then you'd get Justin Fields and Bill Belichick with a defense that can be something. They actually played pretty damn well this year. Jesse Bates was awesome, as he's always been. And I just feel like Atlanta could be on the rise there. If Justin Fields want to go to the ATL, I love that move. And I like the move to stay with Chicago. If he goes anywhere else, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, those two options are the best for Justin.
I love Atlanta for him. Mm-hmm. And to the Belichick point, so the Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, actually heavily pursued when they were free agents Joe Gibbs, legendary all-time coach of Washington, I think 3 Super Bowls in the 80s, and Bill Parcells when Parcells was a free agent. So he does have a history of kind of chasing the shiny object in the coaching carousel. So I think he's going to be making a play, and that would be interesting. But yeah, you talk about that fit with Fields. We love the Atlanta O-line. We love the young weapons they have around them, and that defense too. If you're Belichick and you're looking at the pieces on that defense, what has Belichick always loved to have? He's loved to have a marquee safety over the top, Rodney Harrison, Devin McCourty. He's loved to have a marquee, badass press man corner. Ty Law used to just squat in a cover 2 flat and pick you off all day. But he always has a badass corner he can rely on. You got A.J. Terrell. You got Jesse Bates on this roster. And you do have a lot of flexibility to build that front however you'd like. They've got some young pieces. They could be pretty odd even front flexible with the personnel they've got right now. And like I said about Dallas and kind of Keebler alluded to, for Belichick, you go get Justin Fields and you sort of let this offense just kind of continue its momentum. The way it's building right now, you could be relatively hands off with this offense. Fucking bring Josh McDaniels over. Screw it. Belichick's going to bring a couple guys with him for sure. Patricia's going to have some role for which no other organization has a name in that group, but I think that would be like really, really interesting for Belichick and really interesting for Fields. But ultimately, I think it's more likely they keep Fields. Yeah. It seems to be pointing that direction. I feel like they saw just enough this season, but I don't know. These are those really risky, like it's almost it's a gift and a curse, I think, if you're Ryan Poles, because so much could like ride on your decision here. But it's not like you're beholden to these, middling resources like all of our GMs. You've had now back-to-back seasons with premier top picks. You've had a ridiculous amount of cap space after you cleaned house when you got there. So I think there's a lot of pressure for Ryan Poles here, because if he presses the wrong button, if they bring in Caleb Williams and Trubisky him, there's never been a 4,000-yard passer in the history of the Bears. If they draft Caleb Williams and he's not the first one in the next few seasons, and even if he's not a bust, if he's just not better than Justin Fields, anarchy. Chicago's up in flames. I can't imagine the gravity of that situation for him. Because he could do anything. He has too many options almost, I feel like, with the direction he could go, because he's so resource rich. It's a weird situation. But James, do you have a strong feeling on Justin Fields or the mystery box?
Draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
And if you suck again, you draft quarterback next year. Don't let the generational receiver get away.
Yeah, don't let him get away.
I like that too.
Additionally, I've always been a believer in like building.
Continuity is huge.
Continuity, yes. It reminds me of with the Rams when in their Super Bowl year they went and got Odell and Von Miller and Leonard Floyd and like all these guys. Like, okay, cool, you won the Super Bowl, right? Now where are you, right? Your first round exits. Like you almost didn't make the playoffs, but there's a team like the Bills, who didn't win the Super Bowl that year, but they're building and they're continuously 13-win teams, 12-win teams. They're always in it. I mean, I know you got a Super Bowl out of that, but would you rather go splash crazy on Caleb Williams and it all blows up? Or would you rather go continuously and try to build from the ground up? You're not at the ground. You're getting there. Like you're making steps to like Poles look like a nice, like, Not. I know he's a young GM. Look more experienced in this move. Don't make the rookie mistake here. Make the experience move. Other GMs around the league will respect you more because it's like, okay, I see what Chicago's doing. I see what they're doing. Instead of just making that move, it's like, oh, here we go. He better be a star. That's too much pressure for a guy like that.
I would say, yeah. Don't put the cart before the horse, like Cleveland.
Yeah,
Cleveland must have seriously thought that they were $230 million guaranteed dollars away from contention, serious contention. And just as a side note, I tweeted this earlier. I think everyone should cheer for Texans Browns or Texans Bucks in the Super Bowl, just because imagine every member of the Browns organization and fandom sitting there watching Baker Mayfield versus the team you acquired your $230 million albatross from.
Right.
So that would be funny as hell. But no, I agree with you there too. And I think too, especially nowadays, like if you kind of include even like other sports, like the way the NBA is year to year with the player turnover, everybody's trying to go, trade the farm for the next superstar to, just catapult themselves into contention. And it rarely works that way. Not everybody's the 08 Celtics. Yeah. And it's the same thing in the NFL. Like, I think
Phoenix,
what's more important,
the Nets.
It's culture. It's the human element that plays such a big role. And the effect certain moves have on a locker room can be huge. I think there's a lot of players that you want to keep if you're Ryan Poles, who are extremely loyal to Justin Fields. That's just going to throw a wrench a little bit in the locker room itself, which is really important to the on-field product. So I'm with you guys there. But like you said, Nick, I wouldn't mind seeing him in Atlanta. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be easier to root for him for me.
Honestly, you'd rather Chicago suck. So how about let's just get Caleb Williams. Make the wrong move. Make the wrong move. Do it. Make the wrong move, dude. Like, do it.
Make my day, dude.
Make my day and put Justin Fields on Atlanta.
Yep.
No, if the Broncos are gonna jump ship off of Russell Wilson, I would love to see them take a flyer on Justin Fields too.
I just don't like the weapons they have around him. Atlanta's I like a lot more, and they're younger.
Yeah, they have more, but I don't know. It'd be fun to watch, in my eyes at least. You get Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, who was a dog this year.
Judy's not a dog.
No,
Cortland. Yeah, I know. I'm saying Judy sucks. Judy's not good.
Yeah,
but
Judy's about to be a stray.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was almost traded to the Giants like 2 years ago.
Boy, he's gonna nice.
Yeah,
he's gonna simmer out soon.
I'm sorry I chewed up so much of your show. I'll jump, but that was interesting. I've been hearing a lot of just like awful opinions on all of these things, so I thought I'd flush some of those out talking to you boys. But I'm gonna jump off.
You thought you'd talk to some people who know what they're talking about, so you'd be like, okay, so there's some people that know.
Yes, sir. So I head over to Bite Size Sports. What else do you do? Appreciate you guys. I'll be in the chat, I'm sure.
All right, bro.
Appreciate you, John. Don't die. Don't freeze to death up there, my friend.
Yeah, don't freeze to death. Yeah.
So he's been casually waiting here. So I'm going to pop up. We got the one and only one of my best friends popping on here. I'm going to pull up. He was at the Packers-Cowboys game this weekend.
That's electric.
Is he here?
He is getting ready to pop in. They dressed for the occasion. I would have went a little less flashy, but we've got old Pack Daddy, Jeff Chapman, buddy. That's a big old fucking cheese head you got going there. How's it going, my friend?
Let me set this down. I'm smoking on what's left of that Cowboys pack. I just want to say, sitting backstage here, I heard a lot of shit. Nick, let's talk for a second, all right? You said Dak made 2 throws, his picks that are desperation throws that he wouldn't make in the season. They were slants, brother. They were slants in the middle of the game. Made great plays. A read by a safety and a diving catch by Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I was
desperation pass. This is falling off my head. Desperation pass.
I was talking more about somebody on this
one. Let's not mix words. Let's this revisionist history that's coming out of everybody's mouth all of a sudden. Like the Cowboys weren't fucking toted. They weren't goated all year. The Cowboys were up. Only 4 teams held teams to less points on defense. Let's not talk like their defense was terrible all of a sudden. It wasn't. You can muck it up in the trenches, all that. Let's not talk about it. Only 4 teams. 4 teams held teams to less points. Less points. We have 48 of them.
Tell me how you really feel. Tell me how you really feel, bud.
48. They held teams to 18 points a game. We have 48 in a playoff game at home. Come on, man. Let's not talk revisionist history on that bullshit. That ain't what happened. The Pack came in and we did our damn thing. Give us some respect, man. Let's go.
You're dead. I think I was talking more about. By the way, welcome to the show. I was talking more about some of the throws he was making late. Like he was kind of making just like, I'm down a lot. I got to make some throws. That's all I'm saying. Those picks were obviously Jair made a great play on the ball, and then he just made a bad RPO option, and he threw it right to the corner. So
7-0 on the first pick, 21-0 on the second.
Yeah, I mean both of them were essentially pick sixes, right? Like
should have been
right. But yeah, no, I was watching that game. I was watching that game, rooting for the Packers. So I was definitely giving you credit. I just wanted to. I feel like everybody has to talk about the Cowboys, so I had to talk about them a little bit.
That's the thing it's always got to be about the Cowboys.
I know,
the Cowboys. How about the young, scrappy team? The team, and I wish Johnny would have stayed because I was going to give him an apology because I was unaware how fun it is to win in a wild card game, and only Vikings fans know that that's their Super Bowl. So I was unaware of how fun it is to win in this early round of the playoffs because I just took that for granted. So, apologies, Johnny. Celebrate those wild card wins when you get them.
I don't know what it's like to win in the playoffs, so
I got to celebrate against John last year because I'm a Giants fan. So I got to see us right in the wild.
I was celebrating right with you, brother. I was a Giants fan that day too.
Jeff, did you almost get beat up?
I didn't almost get beat up, but I almost got thrown out of the stadium because the dude flipped. He knocked the cheese head off my head and stepped up to me.
That's disrespectful.
He stepped up to me, and I was like, man, don't do that shit. And then a bunch of Cowboys fans, to their credit, ushered him out of my face. The security came up. Some lady was like, it was those two. I was like, I didn't do anything. And the Cowboys fans around me were like, he didn't do anything.
How many Packers fans were there? Because on TV it didn't look like a ton.
It was a great amount. There were Go Pack Go chants coming out from everywhere. There was a ton. Our whole section was all Packer fans.
Is Jerry's World awesome? I've never been.
It is a city. I've never been. It is a legitimate city. It's the biggest place I've ever been in my life. It's so huge. The TV, I came home like an absolute lunatic and rewatched the game because I'm one of those guys. But when you see the TV, when you're like looking at Jerry's World in there and you see it does not come close to the vastness of what that stadium is. It's unbelievable. And Jerry has done a great job of putting together theater and a show in Dallas, but man, that product on the field,
real bad,
real stinker every year. Good old fat boy McCarthy couldn't get it done.
Did you see the clip of Jerry at halftime?
Yeah, I saw all of it. I saw when I rewatched it, them keep panning to Jerry. I mean, as a Packers fan right now, it's a really weird thing because, like John said, he said the history, the relationship of the Packers and the Cowboys in the playoffs. There's no relationship. It's one-sided, baby. It's one-sided. You know, we have four wins in that building, and the Cowboys only have 2 in the playoffs.
I saw that in the playoffs.
I mean, it's Lambeau South. I don't know. I, as a Packer owner, I'm calling and I'm getting some of the revenue because Jerry owes me. We have made that building. That's Lambeau
You are
South.
correct.
I need some of that. You know what I mean?
As a Giants fan, it was a great weekend for me to see the Cowgirls and the Eagles lose to the Packers and Bucks.
I mean, as a Giants fan, you got to be happy. You're getting shit knocked left and right by the Eagles, by the Cowboys. Oh, you guys sucked all year. Yeah, we did, and we have things to fix. Y'all rode high all year and got absolutely shit canned in the playoffs. Enjoy it. You're in the same place we are.
Yeah, I was a Packers fan for the weekend, so it felt good.
Hey, I got a question for you though. Explain this to me. And like, I have one of my best friends is a Packer fan. He kind of explained it, but I want to get a second opinion. How is everybody like making fun of Joe Barry and like he's gotta go and Tommy DeVito, fucking Tommy Cutlets slices you and he slices and dices and gets offensive player of the week and then Baker has the perfect passer rating against you guys at home and the defense was looking so bad and then you guys just completely dominate Dallas, who was incredible on offense all year. Like, was that like my friend told me because like in that Giant game a lot of guys were out. Quay Walker was out, Jair was out, like a ton of guys were not playing. And these guys were here, there for Saturday. So is that the reason, or was there something else?
I mean, first and foremost, I don't want to mince words here when I say this. It's fuck Joe Barry all day, every day over here. I don't care.
Okay.
If we win the Super Bowl, I'm gonna still throw a middle finger up. It's fuck Joe Barry.
Kyle makes a good point here. Mike McCarthy made Joe Barry look good.
Is that true?
In the Giants game and all those games, we weren't missing that many people. Like our defense was essentially the same. Quay was a little banged up, but he played. I mean, in Carolina, Tampa Bay, we made Baker. So Joe Barry is awful. He doesn't allow pressure. What the thing is, after the Carolina game, Matt LaFleur came in his press conference and was like, I'm going to have to take a bigger role in the defense. And I think he's definitely done that because it's changed from that moment. I think Matt LaFleur has interjected and kind of told Joe, hey, this is what we're doing. You can't keep doing this. But I hope that's the case because I need Joe Barry the hell out of there.
I hear you.
But I haven't switched up at all. I think the thing about it is that when you come into a playoff game and I mean, our team is 27 years old from top to bottom. That's our average.
Young guys, young
27 years.
Young
old.
Receivers, young quarterbacks.
So when you come into a game like this and you're just shit on all week. Nick Wright said this is better than a fucking bye week because you get to work on things in live game. Like when you hear things like that as a young dude in the league, what the fuck do you have to lose? You're going to come in there and you're going to play with your hair on fire because it's the Cowboys in Jerry's World on national TV in primetime. Like what? if you don't play your ass off, there's something wrong with you. And Joe didn't do anything different. He allowed some blitzes here and there that he doesn't normally do. We brought a little more pressure, but it's easy to bring pressure when you're up fucking 48-13 or whatever.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
So I was gonna say, when it's your first playoff game of your career, you can make those mistakes and get away with it. So, like you said, what do you have to lose? You can just let it fly, and I think that's the confidence Jordan Love brought in.
Absolutely, yeah. We're playing with house money. It's house money. If we lose, we're the 7-seed Packers. We were supposed to lose. We win now, and now it's not about the 7-seed Packers. Now it's about, it's the fucking Cowboys. They could fire Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
If you think Mike McCarthy is the problem, you're out of your damn mind. What are they gonna? Who are they going to bring in that's better? You going to bring Bill Belichick in? What's he going to
do? Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel might be big offensively or defensively.
Not offensively.
What the hell is Bill Belichick going to do differently? What are they going to do? It's Dan Quinn's your problem there. It's the players not playing.
He interviewed for the Titans head job, so
the Seahawks canceled their interview with him after watching that game. They're like, "Oh, we don't want that." Fuck
Tennessee did not. Yeah, Tennessee did not. We're going to go through with that junk. I can't wait for that. Yeah, we're gonna hire a defensive-minded head coach to replace the defensive-minded head coach we just fired. So it's going to be fucking great in Tennessee Titans.
The thing about it is, it's just when you watch the Packers, they're just balling. Like
they're good.
Matt LaFleur's scheme on offense is unreal. There's so much pre-snap motion. There's so many mixed looks out of the same package. And who are you going to key on? You key on Christian Watson, who just played the other day. He was doubled a bunch. And then you got Romeo Doubs open in the middle of the field. All right, let's take Doubs away. They got Dontavian Wicks open through the middle of the field. All right, let's take him away. Jaden Reed is coming out the slot like a crazy person.
And Bo Melton.
Yeah, big old Bo playing his ass off. I mean, and then you got Tucker Kraft, who's made one of the biggest from where Tucker Kraft was at the beginning of the year. Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft are fighting for the biggest jump I've ever seen in a season to season, like one season play, because Tucker Kraft was dog shit. And it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy because Luke Musgrave was just kicking his ass and everything. And then Luke gets hurt with a lacerated kidney. The kid finished the game with a lacerated kidney and played 4 weeks later. It's hard to put money on that, but Tucker Kraft is unreal. So now we got, who are you going to guard? And they're all young. They're all fiery. They're all going to play their ass off every play. They're not going to take plays off.
You made a good point. Sorry. You made a good point when you said like a lot of pre-snap motion. Before the Bills-Cowboys game, Dan Orlowski was saying how much different of a defense they are when you use a lot of motion before snap. I think that they were giving up, like, as you said, like that 18 points per game that they were giving up. That was early in the season when they were kind of boat racing teams, right? Like Washington and the Giants twice and teams like that and the Jets. But when teams started to realize what their weakness was and the fact that we can just bounce a receiver, run right at your weak-ass linebacker, and we use a lot of pre-snap motion, these corners get confused. You get Watson comes across, a guy like Diggs comes across. They get really confused, and all of a sudden, a big completion or a big run is a lot more common, than it was early in the season. So I think that once that was figured out, it was a lot easier to run right at Dallas. And I don't know, Dan Quinn just couldn't do anything about it.
Well, the biggest thing about Dallas's defense is it's like old Dom Capers' Packers defenses. It's all predicated on turnovers. You got Bland and Diggs out there. If they're not creating turnovers, they are fucking pedestrian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're not getting turnovers, and that's why you play all these small, fast, quick guys, is because you're trying to get turnovers. You're trying to fly around the field, and you're not mucking it up. But when you don't muck it up and you don't get turnovers, you look like you did. And that's fine. And I saw the comment from Kyle where he said it's not all on Dan Quinn. I know it's not all on Dan Quinn because Dak is out there looking like a fucking idiot. And I'm so glad Jordan Love at the very end when he took his knee said, "Here we go." That shit gave me so much life. That gave me so much life. They were yelling, "Here we go," everywhere in the stadium. It was, bear down my ass. You can bear down into a hole.
So, Nate is our resident Bears fan. All right, Jeff. So Nate brings up a good point before I kick you out of here. Let you go on your merry way. You guys have the Niners next weekend, the NFC's #1 seed. I'm telling you they're going to lose. So tell me why the Packers are going to win.
I'm not going to tell you why the Packers are going to win because it's the first time in my life as a Packers fan I have zero expectations again as a game. I don't care what happens. We're rebuilding. We're at the beginning of this. We still have, how much dead cap we have from Aaron Rodgers still?
A lot.
We couldn't get anything going. So just to see the progress from this team, if we go in there and we exercise our demons against the 49ers, I'll be all in. I'll be all in. Let's go beat the Lions in Detroit, or let's go beat the Bucks in Tampa Bay and get to the Super Bowl and win this whole fucking thing. But going into San Francisco, you make it a game, you put some pressure on them, I'm all for it. I don't care what happens. I just want the offense to look good. I want Jordan Love to keep ascending. And if we win, we win. If we win, we win. I don't care. If we lose, I'm going to be like, all right, we beat the Cowboys. We were the first 7 seed to ever win a game. So I got nothing to lose. They got nothing to lose. There's no pressure. It's the only team that has zero pressure on them. And I think that makes us a little bit dangerous.
It does, especially after what you showed you can do. Some teams have no pressure on them, but then they suck. So, okay, we got no pressure. We still lost 48-10, right? Yeah. But you guys put 48 points on a team that you were just saying gave up 18 points all year. And so if you can do something like that and, have a feat like that, then, what else can you do, right?
I'm terrified of their weapons on offense. And
so many.
Their defense is going to bring pressure, but our offensive line has held tough all year against the rush. So, Jordan Love can cook.
All you have to do is trick Purdy because he's a terrible quarterback, which he showed against the Ravens.
All we got to do against Purdy is let Rashawn Gary eat. If Rashawn Gary can get back there, Purdy ain't a problem. Purdy is a game manager. I ain't worried about Purdy, but I'm worried about Debo. I'm worried about is Christian going to play? He was injured.
In my opinion, all it's going to be is running jet sweeps with Debo. Obviously, you're going to run it with McCaffrey, and then Purdy's just going to try to be a checkdown merchant. He's not going to be letting the ball fly because he knows he can't.
And that's what I'm terrified of is because our run defense is fucking ass because Joe Barry has never learned how to adapt to run games, which is one of the funniest things in all time. And the checkdowns kill us because we have Devondre Campbell and Preston Smith and LVN, and even fucking Kenny Clark was in coverage a couple times in the flat. Like, what are we doing? So that's what I'm worried about, and that's what's and people are gonna crown Purdy if he makes
George Kittle. Kyle brings up a good point. Forgot he's the forgotten one.
Ferguson had 3 touchdowns. So
tight ends kill us. So
Shanahan, bite-sized Vikes. Old Johnny Boy says Shanahan versus Barry.
It's not Shanahan versus Barry. It's Shanahan versus LaFleur, and Shanahan has punked his ass every single fucking time. You can't be better than your mentor when the mentor knows what you're thinking, man. You got to.
That's true.
But the big problem that I hate in the Shanahan and LaFleur matchup is that we never got to see LaFleur be LaFleur because Aaron Rodgers was out there wasting LaFleur's prime. So now that we got a quarterback and players in a system that'll run LaFleur's actual system, maybe he can figure something out. But Rodgers wasn't going to play that shit.
Yeah.
Jeff, I can't wait for LaFleur to come back to Tennessee. He's going to come home.
He ain't coming back.
He's coming home,
happy.
baby.
He's happy in the green and yellow, baby.
They are. I'll give you guys a shot this weekend. I won't write you out. Jeff, appreciate you joining us. Any final words? Any final words for our resident Vikings and Bears fans in the chat?
It's always fuck the Vikes. The Bears mean nothing to me. Y'all are so irrelevant that I can't even be mad at you. You're annoying, but I can't be mad at you. And one thing about it is that I will always say I respect the hell out of the NFC North because y'all have made my life great. See you later.
Later, buddy. Go Texas Commerce Lions.
Go, baby. Go Texas A&M Commerce Lions.
So appreciate Jeff popping on. We still got playoffs to talk. And as he exits, I see someone popping in. There he is. He knows how to run this show. Kev can run his own show. Our resident AFC South lovable losers with me. Johnny pops in Wolves versus Bucks NBA Finals. Kev, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
Okay.
What up, guys? It is good to be back. I'm doing okay, obviously, besides certain obvious factors. We're not talking about a lot of things I'd like to be talking about tonight, but no. On the other hand, I like to just enjoy the playoffs at this point. My team's not in it.
They never make it because they're no good. Like at least
it's like I can watch good football teams play now. Yeah, it's great. I'm having a great time.
Bite-sized Vikes comes in, elite hat headphone combo. Absolutely, I do give you credit there. So let's go. We're gonna jump straight in. Bills, Steelers. We'll go through these pretty quickly here. Except we do have our resident Bills fan on. He was questioning why we weren't going to talk about him. I was moving it up in the run of show, folks. This is the only game I didn't get to watch. I was driving back from Kansas City yesterday, so I'm going to let you guys take this one over. The only thing I know about it is that Najee Harris sucks and he couldn't get to 50 points, so the FanDuel boost crushed me and I got smoked in multiple states there. So, Nick, give me your 30-second review on what the hell happened and how come you weren't out there shoveling snow for $20 an hour.
Okay, I'll answer the second one first. I didn't really want to, and secondly, I'm probably going on Sunday, so I'll shovel snow at some point. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But so basically, what I was thinking the whole game was after I saw the Packer game, I was like, don't let them punch you in the mouth first. You need to punch them in that mouth early and often, and that's exactly what happened. Like the 7-0 early on, it was like they went 3 and out as I expected, and then we go down and they hit Dawson for a touchdown. I'm like, all right, we're on form, we're gonna be okay. Then another touchdown after a fumble by Pickens that was ridiculous by him. He's not built for that moment. And then Kincaid, the tight end brothers get us on the board 14-0. Then Josh does his thing with a 55-yard touchdown run with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did not feel like tackling him. And then the game was fucking over. It was 21-0. I was like, okay, see ya. And then, of course, it's a playoff game, so it can't go perfectly. Terrell Bernard goes down. He only has a sprained ankle, though, so I think he'll be okay. And then a lot of weird shit was going on with, the offense was running the ball a ton, which is awesome. And then the Steelers were doing some weird things, getting back in the game a little bit. All of a sudden, it's a 1-score game. And I was still not worried, but I was like, wait, it is only a 1-score game.
Mm-hmm.
Pick 6, we're tied, right? But then an amazing drive with we got the ball with 10 minutes to go, up 7. And then Khalil Shakir made the play of the game. He almost got tackled, gets up and just fucking jukes one dude, another guy, end zone, game over. So, it was nice to get a win where we were kind of just chill and we didn't need to do too much crazy stuff. Josh, didn't turn the ball over, didn't have to do too much, but still had 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, which I love to see. And yeah, the only team that can beat us is really us. If we're gonna turn the ball over 4 times, we're not gonna win the game. But if we're not turning the ball over, it's very tough to beat us. So I'm very excited for this game against Kansas City. Me and my boy are very, very. We're thinking about going, so we'll see how it goes.
How far? I don't know where you live. How far away is it for you?
6 hours.
That ain't shit. That ain't bad. I drove to Kansas City this weekend. It was 6 hours. Those kind of games are worth it. I went to the AFC Championship game when the Titans played it a few years ago. Man, it shit's worth it. It's so much.
Yeah,
fun.
Right. You think about.
You don't know either when it'll for me. I don't know if it fucking ever gonna happen again.
Yeah,
so,
just think about I went to Allen Mahomes 3 this time in Buffalo. I feel like you gotta go, man. I can't be sitting and watching this shit.
Yeah, it'll be freezing cold, but you'd fucking love it. And who knows, you might be able to see Taylor Swift freezing their ass off too.
Yeah, exactly.
Kev, Peeps, any comments on this one?
An even shorter explanation for the Bills game. The Bills did what they were supposed to do and beat Mason Rudolph without TJ Watt.
Yeah, correct. We did our job.
That's a good point. Did we
Cowboys
talk at all about that? Because if I hear certain Steelers Twitter accounts tell it, the whole game is predicated on 2 plays, guys. So it is the fake slide, by Josh Allen. And then it was the penalty that was called. It's they got him with that fake slide, and then afterwards they get the bullshit penalty on the slide. So I figured before we moved on, I just wanted to maybe allow you a chance to refute that.
Absolutely. So Josh is running downfield, right? And he's got about 15 yards. It was 3rd and 8. He needed a first. He gets the first down. He sees a guy, like 2 guys in front of him, and instead of sliding, he's like, okay, these guys kind of look like bitches, so I'm just going to, like, go right past them. And I'm just going to, like, kind of do this. If they tackle me, they tackle me, and they just don't, and he's gone. He wasn't trying to slide. He was just trying to juke. He's white. He is white. He is 6'5" and white. If it was Lamar, it would have looked a whole lot better. But it was Josh Allen, and all of a sudden he's off to the races.
Looked like a fullback out there.
He looked like Mike Allstott. Yeah.
And then the penalty that he got. Josh Allen's one of the smartest guys in the league when it comes to penalties. He knows the rule book inside and out. So he's gonna go and he's gonna slide down right before the guy, and he's gonna hit him. And he's like, okay, that's a penalty. And he's getting hit. He knows that's a penalty in his mind. And then the refs glazed the fuck out of Josh Allen, which I love. So they're gonna give him that penalty every single time. So I love that Josh gets glazed. I love it all, and I love that he knows the rules inside and out. And if they want to get mad about it, go ahead. That's awesome. I smile through it. Like I don't get it.
I don't think he was ever trying to slide on the first one. I agree with you, Long. Like
No.
I don't know if it was you who tweeted it out, but him being like, it's fucking freezing cold. The ground's, you can't just plant like he was getting ready to change direction. The second one, I think they do have a problem with the slide, like because they can get him so late like that, and that's technically the rule. But if you're a defender, you're so fucked in that situation.
Yeah,
like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like they're just screwed. But I think John said it best. They are who we thought they were. They did what they were supposed to do. We're going to get an awesome matchup. Bills Chiefs this Sunday, so we'll pivot over to the Chiefs game. I was in Kansas. I was in KC this weekend. I didn't go to the game. I was there. It was fucking cold, boys.
Oh yeah.
It was -4 at kick, and I'm pretty sure it was actually -11. And I knew people at the game, and they had beers freezing in their hands and shit.
Right.
Like it was
Waste of
awful.
money.
Waste of money. No way. You could have got tickets in like Upper Bowl for like $40 in a playoffs game. You just might have froze to death.
Yeah.
Like,
His
nah,
Bills
no
game
thanks.
too is going to be Mahomes' first road playoff game.
Yep.
Which I'm
Is it 15 playoff games? Is that what I saw?
I think.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't see him wearing white in the playoffs. He's never wearing white. He's always wearing red.
No.
So
Got some clout route coming in, Kev's people.
Always love the eggs in the chat. Thank you.
Eggs have arrived. Any comment? Like, so 26-7, Chiefs take down the Dolphins. The cold weather took down the Dolphins. It's just completely one-sided.
Well, I'll go first on that one. Tua grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So you kind of expect him to not perform in minus weather. Again, I think if you had 2 brain cells, you knew that the Chiefs were going to win this game pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because when you have Tyreek trying to go deep, I think there was one throw where Tua underthrew the shit out of it, and Tyreek had to physically go like this and then come back for it like that. Yeah. It's just like you can't perform like that and expect to win. So, Pat Mahomes. He performed well again, obviously. So I think it was a good all-around win. When it comes to next week, sorry, Nick, I think that the Chiefs are going to take them down.
Yeah, so is every one of my friends is saying the same thing, that you all hate me. I understand. But as long as you guys all say this, I've heard this for 7 straight weeks, and we're 7-0. So I keep saying it. I love it. Keep fucking.
I mean,
I love it.
Like the thing is, like with this upcoming matchup, I think that beating a Mason Rudolph team by only 2 possessions kind of shows you still have some stuff to work on, and I think that the Chiefs are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, but we were favored by 10 and we won by 14. What's the problem?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, not odds aside, you should be beating the shit out of Mason Rudolph.
He's a gamer. He played well. Give him credit.
Going Myles Garrett on him.
He did play well, but
and we had everybody out. At one point in that game, we had like a practice squad out there. I swear to God, the Cam Lewis, like Christian Benford was out. Taron Johnson's in concussion protocol. Terrell Bernard is our middle linebacker, who's basically the quarterback of the defense. He goes out. We're out there with nobody. Like, what do you expect? These guys are professionals. If we had our full defense, they wouldn't have done jack.
I mean,
but
you can do the same about the Steelers. They were missing T.J. Watt, a couple key guys too.
Yeah, and we played great offensively.
So,
Yeah.
I just like getting Nick riled up a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Rob brings up
I
a
know
good point. Like, he
I know
feels
he
for
does.
you because this is the year, like, everybody's finally out on them. And
Well,
it
yeah, I
does
mean,
feel that
deservedly
way.
so. Deservedly so. They lost to some bad teams.
I mean, I just think the Ravens are winning the Super Bowl. That's just my.
You didn't lose to the Tennessee Titans, so you didn't lose to all the bad teams. So
That's
keep
true.
that in mind, because the Dolphins did. Did you guys see? My favorite thing right now is the fact that Tyreek Hill is clowning himself on Twitter, and I think we need more of this in the NFL. Did you guys see the tweet I'm talking about?
He jammed me into Cancun or
Yeah,
something
he
like
jammed.
Yeah, that was good.
Where he was talking about, is it L'Jarius Sneed? Where he's like, he jammed me into Cancun. I was crying.
That's good.
see
The
if I
thing
can
about Miami is they're happy to be in Cancun. They are so
Yeah.
happy to be there. Like, that's what they want to be.
Yeah, they did you guys know though that they couldn't be the 2 seed because they blew a 14-point lead to the one and only Tennessee Titans?
Yes,
in,
thank you
the last
so
2
much.
minutes
That
of the
was awesome.
game. So that was actually the reason they weren't the 2 seed. Let me see if I can find this tweet.
Well, also they blew our game, but yeah.
Which is huge because that was, I mean, I think this weekend kind of proved it. I think it's maybe this is an easy thing that I'm saying here, but Miami is a team that if they're whoever they decide to be their quarterback next year, if they are good enough to be a playoff team, to me, if they don't have home field advantage, I will never pick them to get to
No.
a Super Bowl. Like,
No.
no chance I'm picking them in a road game.
You
No.
said for who?
For Miami.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think for them,
Well,
it's home field or bust, or you
Super
might as well not even
Bowls-
show up.
As long as Tua's the quarterback, at least I could say that.
Fair.
Super Bowls aren't won in September in 85-degree weather with the palm tree swaying at this miles an hour for you two at Tagovailoa. Like, oh, guys, we're playing the Denver Broncos. It's 89 degrees and its palm trees are swaying. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and the sun's
That
beating
doesn't
down on
happen
the
in
opposing
January.
sideline, so they're having heat stroke on the opposing
Yeah.
sideline. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hate them, but they do all these things to make me hate them. They really do. So
I blame the 72 Dolphins, man. I feel like there's a whole generation of football fans that hate that franchise because those old bastards pop champagne every time an undefeated team goes. It's like, all right, we get it, dude. Go away.
Yeah. What were they, 11-0? Cool. Like, we've had
Yeah.
teams that were 11-0.
Be like me as a Notre Dame fan bragging about one of Newt Rockney's championships. It's like, dude, that was 100 years ago. Get over it.
Right.
Okay, I just gotta find it. There he is. I got it. Okay, there we go. Now I can pull this shit up. His name is Ty Hill on Twitter, not Tyreek Hill. So that was problem number 1.
Should we be calling him that? Is that what he wants to be called?
I probably at this point. So we can use the split here, Kev. The bounce split.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's L'Jarius Sneed just beating the shit out of him. Just jam my ass in Cancun.
Yeah.
I think we need more of this in the league. Just
I think
be
Tyreek
okay.
Hill was a little more lighthearted about it just because it was the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I would agree because I think there's another tweet about it. He did something like that too. I would agree with that, but I think there needs to be more of that. Just like if you get beat, like so be it, man.
He also acknowledged that their season was most likely over at like going into the game. Like he wasn't like, oh, we were right there. They weren't. Like he knew it.
No, not good. Not any good. So now let's jump to, I guess let's get this out of the way. It was a bad weekend for football.
Yeah.
Honestly. A lot of junky games. Even the Bills game that finished within 14, nobody really thought it was ever going to, like you said, Nick, we were like, oh, it's kind of close, but it really wasn't. Like nobody ever thought the Bills were losing. The only good game of the weekend is the Lions beat the Rams 24-23. The Jared Goff revenge game, however you want to call it. The NFL scriptwriters got this one right. Closest game of the weekend. Puka Nacua has a monster game. 9 receptions, 181 yards, 1 touchdown. Cooper Kupp doesn't do shit. Amon-Ra has 110 yards. My favorite part of the game.
He is old, man.
He is. My favorite part of the game was when Matthew Stafford got knocked into another dimension and then came back and was allowed to keep playing. So concussions don't matter in the NFL playoffs.
My favorite part of the game was when Matt Stafford came on the field and those classless Lions fans booed him as if he didn't get traded to another team. What is this thing? It was bad enough when the Bulls fans booed a dead man in front of his poor wife.
That one's so bad. The Jerry Krause
That
so
is
bad,
just
man.
pathetic, guys. Come on. That man GM'd you to 6 NBA titles, by the way.
And he's dead. Like, let's not boo. And
yeah,
his wife was there. Let's come on.
Like,
chill.
Lions, you've had such a pathetic history. The only reason you have any bright spots are because of 3 names. You ready? Barry Sanders, Megatron, and Matt Stafford. How the hell are you booing this man? I mean, maybe it's just because it's a playoff game.
It is a playoff.
And you're just booing whoever, but I was like, God damn, bro, there's just no loyalty out here anymore.
It didn't seem like it was like a Stafford boo. I think they just saw the Lions or the Rams running out onto the field and they just started booing.
I didn't see it. So
okay.
I'm okay with that.
You see it because now it's a big
But the media
storyline.
wants to turn it that way because you see Stafford and he's the first guy on the field.
Yep.
So,
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
because that's exactly how it was put. Like it was, and I now come to think of it, even the tweet, it almost feels like I feel like it was the video might have even been cropped a little bit to where it's just showing Stafford run out. But yeah, it was likely that he was just leading the team. Come to think of it, so all right, Lions,
I feel like
pass.
if it was only Stafford, they wouldn't have cheered nor booed. They probably just would have just kind of we're not gonna cheer you like it's the playoffs. We want to beat you, and you never he was awesome, but let's be honest, never did shit for us. Like I'm gonna be honest, he didn't. But since it was the whole team, what are we gonna cheer them? Yeah, let's go Rams!
Right? Yeah.
Beat us. Woo! Yeah, we don't want to win this year.
Give it your best. We want you at your best. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you guys are all healthy. No team would do that. So.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. I'm cool with that. If you're,
do the other team.
Yeah.
The Jerry Krause thing was unacceptable, but we'll give him a pass for booing the opposing team.
Yeah, so we're cool there. The Jerry Krause thing, absolutely classless, bullshit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's why I don't care what Bulls fans have to think about me. Look how they treat their own.
Yeah, no shit. How are they going to treat you? Look at what they do to their own. Anybody got comments on the game? Puka was an absolute monster. Finishes off a mega rookie season.
Puka's a dog. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Well,
man, he does that.
I mean, the officials kind of ruined the game, didn't they? Is that the story?
What are you talking about?
I mean, the no call on Puka late in the game, a clear DPI was not called.
I saw this tweet where it was pick one of 3 penalties: late hit, PI, defensive holding, and it was just all on the same play, and none of them.
And they were none. Yeah, I thought the Rams should have won that game because of that, but I was pulling for Detroit because I feel for them. So I was upset.
As another poverty franchise, I like to see other poverty franchises.
As another poverty franchise, I like to see another poverty franchise do well.
Yes, I will cheer for them. But
the Rams already won.
Yeah, Rams got to win.
Yeah,
I agree. It wasn't as high scoring as I thought. And then you factor in that kind of stuff, and you hate when that shit lingers over. It seems to always happen to the Lions too. So maybe it's just the give back because they
the give back from the Dallas game. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I'd rather lose the regular season and get the give back in the playoffs,
especially when Dallas loses. So
high scoring in the first quarter. After that, it kind of.
Oh no! It was back and forth, and then it turned to a defensive struggle. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it came out the gates hot.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun at the end of the game watching and listening to the commentary team talk about how wide Aiden Hutchinson was lining up and just watching him try to, either dead sprint around the tackle or hit a spin move or something. And, watching Stafford just have to be so aware of that one pass rusher and just all right, well. And so, yeah, it was just almost to pull from our usual bounce conversation. It was almost like watching a good 2-man game, right? Where it's all right, we got a good back and forth between the best players on each side and everybody else just kind of around. It was an exciting game.
I thought that draft pick at the time was really bad when they took when the Jags did not take Hutchinson, and I think it gets worse and worse every single game. As South fans, we are glad we don't have to see him ever, because every defensive end that lined up against Tennessee's left tackle this year looked like him. So I can't imagine what if it was actually him, how bad it would have looked. Just a slight tangent. I saw a stat today that said Taylor Lewan gave up 25 sacks in his whole career at left tackle for the Titans. Titans left tackles this year gave up combined 28.
That's
So,
insane.
Moving on past that shithole franchise.
We're gonna offer him stadium naming rights to come out of retirement.
I will-
Just one more year. We'll name the
I'll
stadium.
feed him so many cheeseburgers to get fat again.
I will say this though, for Dan Campbell, awesome. Also, I feel so great for him, but he did an incredible job on Aaron Donald. I'll say that. I saw him basically every play was at least doubled and sometimes tripled, and he realized that the Rams have no other pass rushers, so nobody was ever really getting home to Jared Goff. And I was like, all right, well, where's Aaron Donald? He's getting triple teamed. He's not Thanos. Like, he kind of is, but he's not, because he's a human being. So, like, if there's 3 guys on you, you're not getting through that. And the other pass rushers just aren't talented enough. And that was the difference between the Super Bowl year and this year. They had Leonard Floyd and Von Miller in their basically primes coming up. So with Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd and Von Miller are going to be incredible. But they really don't have anything other than AD. So triple teaming him was very smart.
I had something in my head. Oh, did you guys see the Dan Campbell gives the game ball to Jared Goff in the locker room and goes, Goff, just so you know, you're good enough for me. Good enough for us.
Good enough for
Detroit. Good enough for the Lions.
Yeah.
Good enough for Detroit. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Really fucking cool moment. Would say also one of those trades, just like the Halliburton for Sabonis trade, that worked out very well for both teams because the Rams won a Super Bowl and Detroit has gotten like 70,000 really good players out of this trade somehow.
And they're good. More importantly,
and they're good.
They're very good.
And they are on to the next round. On to the next one. The depends on how you look at it. Could say most surprising one of the weekend. I don't think it is personally, but the Bucks beat the absolute shit out of the Eagles.
I had money on the Bucks. That was such.
I was on the Bucks. I thought the same thing. I thought it was super easy. But Eagles started the season 10-5 or 10-1, and finished the season 1-5, and losing the playoffs, limp out of the playoffs. Very just their secondary is awful. They get huge problems with their secondary is number one, and thank God they took Ken Byard off our hands because he looks. God bless him. I hope he's going to go into the Titans Hall of Fame someday, but he looked terrible yesterday.
Yeah, I mean,
and Bradbury's done.
Essentially, Tom Brady with a different haircut.
Yeah.
Good for Bradbury is so done.
1 year ago, Baker Mayfield was lining up as a scout team defensive end for the Panthers. And yesterday he threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I don't one of those franchises
can't do anything right.
Not is struggling quite a bit. Meanwhile, good for Baker.
I think for him it was just about finding the fit. Like the Browns, I don't think was a fit. He was a scapegoat there. Went to the Panthers, was a scapegoat there.
Weird.
Now he finally has a good team around him where he has 1,000-yard season. Receiver. You have a solid team around you, and now you're he's like the quarterback everyone kind of expected him to be.
Yeah.
So.
Not a superstar, but pretty damn good. Yeah.
The thing I love about Baker is he never backs down. He's through the lows, right? He's always a gamer. Like if he doesn't have a good game, he'll still find a way to try to make the game close, do something like that. I'm not throwing for 300 yards, not throwing for I might have 2 picks and 135 yards, but I'm going to try to make this game close because he just kind of never gives up. And I love that attitude about him. And I'm glad that it's paying off for him. He's never going to live up to the number 1 overall pick, generational talent quarterback, but he's doing as well right now as anybody would have thought after those first few years.
In a league full of really shitty quarterbacks right now.
So
he's absolutely an above-average starter if we've given the correct weapons around him. The Mike Evans is, the Chris Godwin's, Rashad White helps him. He can be he can be pretty good.
Sometimes it just,
The one thing I'm surprised about is how badly they played against
a healthy shoulder.
Is how badly they played against the Panthers to finish out the regular season and then come in and then just whoop the Eagles out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They did not look good. They just kind of fell their way in.
Yeah.
But the Eagles looked worse, and
9
could
points
be
3
major changes. I firmly don't believe Sirianni should be fired. I think that's asinine, but I understand Philly's media is absolutely wild.
I think he should be fired. I'm a Giants fan.
That's in division.
I think he should be fired, but that's just my personal preference.
Devontae Smith had a big game, but other than that, just nothing. Nobody. Hurts
They
look.
couldn't.
Does anybody think Hurts is hurt? Is there anybody think something's wrong?
I think that he doesn't have a good offensive scheme around him that fits his play style.
The play calling is what I think is wrong.
Play
a lot of
calling's
the
the
time.
The
biggest
play
problem,
calling's bad. I think that he had an ankle issue all year, and he never wanted to talk about it. But he obviously it's an issue. Then they lost that Seattle game where he had like the flu or something, right? He was sick.
Yeah.
And that was bad, and maybe he's not feeling himself. It just when you look at him, he just wasn't feeling himself. Like he
didn't look like last
Jalen
year.
Hurts. He looked like
I would agree with that.
he just looked weird. It was like looked like I don't want to be here, guys. Like I don't really feel it.
Yeah, he didn't look right. Obviously, missing AJ Brown hurts. I hope they put all the blame on AJ Brown and they ship him out. And I seen odds that really piss me off because there's some stupid horseshoe really high. Like if they're gonna trade AJ Brown, he should be able to go back to the franchise that wants him. So he has to go to us. It's rule. It's law. Nobody else gets him, and we have to give them Treylon Burks. It's a fair trade. But even with him yesterday, he is not going to make up 23 points.
No, not at all. And that he's getting all mad and deleting all of his Eagle stuff. It just seems like
come home, baby, come home.
It just seems like every receiver is a diva in some way.
Yeah.
No receiver. No elite receiver is just a nice guy. They're all just, they all want the ball at all times. It's so interesting.
It's my favorite. Go ahead, Keebler.
I think if AJ Brown was smart and wanted to do the right thing, he would stay in the division to go to a rival.
Go to the Giants.
He has to come home.
That's why the Texans and the Colts are the two favorites. It's because he's just petty enough. He wants to rub it in Tennessee's face.
Oh my God!
That's why they're leading on the odds.
He might have 500 yards one season when he's old, and he'll play the Titans twice and have 498 of them against the Titans. 7 touchdowns. You guys saw what he did to us last year?
Oh, dude, I'm having nightmares because it's not the Colts that's at the top of that list. It's the Texans and CJ Stroud. Oh my God, dude, I might just quit watching.
James, you said you remember what AJ did to you guys last year. That makes me have to remember them being good, which I don't remember, so I don't remember. I don't remember.
Dude, all you just got to remember is that he ended the Titans franchise last year.
Yeah,
he got our GM fired. He got our head coach fired, but he forgot to get the owner fired. That's who needed to be fired.
You can't. Yeah. Speaking of that, the Knicks owners and some shit.
The Knicks.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on Thursday if you guys want to.
Thursday night. Shameless plug. Come watch the Bounce.
I was so excited.
We'll talk NBA. What's John got here for us? My father-in-law grew up with his dad. Says he was also an insane athlete before a farm accident wrecked his leg. Who's he talking about here? You're talking about.
He's talking about me and my dad, actually. Yeah.
We didn't get the reference, bro.
Yeah, poor John, poor guy. Shout out Trey Palmer, Husker legend, with the 56-yard run where he just ran away from everybody.
Bradbury just
talk about AJ Brown.
Oh, AJ Brown.
Well, isn't he still an insane athlete, or am I?
Hell, it depends on if he gets healthy. Trey Palmer, 56-yard run through Bradbury, through Kevin Byard, won me a bunch of money. I had him anytime touchdown score plus 600. Thanks, buddy. But ghost of Julio Jones couldn't help them out. DeAndre Swift did nothing. I mean, if all you have to do is look at the stats and be like,
if only the Eagles had like a point in their franchise history that they could have looked back on and been like, hey guys, when we do that thing that people do in their first year of a Madden dynasty, when we just sign all these old free agents to 1-year deals, turns out we don't actually win a lot of games when we do that. It's too bad that they never tried to build like a super team like this before with a bunch of spare parts, and they could have learned that lesson and not have to go through it this year, man. That's just a bummer.
Time is a flat circle. Time is a flat circle. Big news. I think the most important news of that game is that Travis Kelce's brother, and I meant to say Jason Kelce, but I went with Travis, so I tried to pivot there. But Jason Kelce is retiring. One of the best centers to ever play the game and a first ballot Hall of Famer. So it's only going to get worse for the Eagles because they got a lot of
salt in the wound. Salt in the wound.
Yeah, salt in the wound's great. They got a bunch of free agents too. Like it's probably only going to get worse. And if the AJ Brown situation is as bad as it is publicized, you don't know if it is or isn't. But as somebody that's seen it before, it absolutely is. They got a lot of problems heading into this offseason.
One thing I didn't have on my bingo card was a K-Dot and legacy game.
Absolutely, a big legacy game. Eight receptions, 89 yards, man.
Yeah, he was always like shadowing Gronk, right? He was shadowing it.
Yeah, that's actually he was the sidekick that wasn't very good.
And
they did it with
touchdown scorer,
Yeah.
which no one had ever.
Nobody. Yeah, David Moore. Like Mike Evans had 3 catches for 48 yards. He didn't do anything. Godwin 4 for 45 did get a touchdown, but it's the K-Dot and David Moore like Baker Mayfield show.
That's the thing about Baker. I remember him having a little bit of a hard time when he had Odell and Landry there because he will just throw to whoever's open. Like he's not concerned about getting a certain number of targets to his main guy. I remember seeing some of that footage of him trying to be like, basically saying, wait your turn. Like, I'll get you. I'll see you out there. So that is something they kind of love about him, that he doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. Last game that we need to discuss, which was the first game of the weekend, and it was, again, another absolute blowout. The Texans blow out the Cleveland Browns 45-14. Stroud is that dude. It really sucks. He is in the AFC South, 274, 3 touchdowns. Joe Flacco ends his improbable comeback this year, throwing 2 pick sixes in the span of about 14 plays. It felt like about 2 plays, but what are you guys' thoughts on this? Nico Collins, big game.
I just want to make
Jordan,
sure
76 yard.
The same CJ Stroud, right at the top 5 quarterback in the league already in his rookie year, like that CJ Stroud. Just want to.
That guy.
That guy's fucking really good.
Is Nico Collins out for the year?
Is he hurt?
I saw a report that he's out for the year. Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know if I saw that.
That's a big,
a huge blow. Especially
it's gonna be the Dalton Schultz show, everybody.
I saw that. I could have been a fake
Robert Woods
or something, but I saw Nico's out for at least this game coming up. So
the ghost of Robert Woods will get him. Let's see. I'm looking at news here on ESPN. I didn't see.
Yeah, while you look that up, thank you, Albert, for the comment here. He got in an Eagles thought right before we switched topics. Said, but they looked like they had no interest. They are dissatisfied. Yep.
Dissatisfied, broken. Yeah.
I don't see. Hopefully, I think you saw a fake one because I don't see anything on ESPN about him being hurt or anything. So that's good because that would really suck for them to lose another receiver after they got Tank Dell mauled on a 4th and 1. Bite-sized Vikes coming in hot. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk. I forgot about Philly. They the tush push. We should have known they were going to lose when the tush push 2-point conversion got shut down.
Oh yeah, if they aren't doing that right, they got nothing.
When they couldn't get that was the end of everything.
Yeah, I was wrong there.
So yeah, which is good. That's great. Singletary 66 yards touchdown. Nico 96 touchdown. Brevin Jordan had the monster 76-yard TD. Looks like a receiver out there. Didn't look like a tight end. Some John Mechie sightings. Dalton Schultz 37-yard touchdown. Which, if you didn't know, it's the same play Titans ran. Will Levis threw a touchdown in his first game. Copycat league. This is really the story of the Joe Flacco's rise and the Browns storming into the playoffs, and then suddenly forgetting that he is actually still Joe Flacco.
Yeah, it reminded me of Cinderella. Was that the one where the clock struck midnight?
Yes,
and Joe Flacco turned back into a pumpkin?
That is exactly correct. He turned into a pumpkin.
Poor guy. And didn't he have a streak where he had never lost a divisional playoff or a first round playoff game? And then you come out of retirement, you have this great regular season no one's expecting, and then
you can get your favorite. Everybody thinks you're going to win.
Man, no good deed goes unpunished, man.
Yikes.
The story for me is that a lot of people have Stefanski winning Coach of the Year. And ever since I saw Houston's rise, I always thought it should be DeMeco Ryans because, you've got – I think, at least with the Browns, you've got some talent there. At the beginning of the season, Houston was not touted as, a top anything. and they go ahead and
they have the second best odds for worst team in the league. I saw today. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that's what you do with it. And
Mm-hmm.
this defense is obviously incredible because you came from San Francisco as the defense coordinator. So you got your defense looking great. You got a generational type quarterback. And then, you do the most with little with the receiving core, and you win 45-14 in the first round of the playoffs when people were taking the Cleveland. I think Cleveland might have been favored. I think they were favored by like 2 or 3 points.
Yes, Cleveland was favored.
So
that is correct. Yes.
Cleveland was favored on the road, and they lost by 40, basically. And so, I mean, I know it's a regular season award, so Stefanski could still win it, but I wouldn't take that seriously.
I firmly believe they need to announce Coach of the Year after the regular season.
After, yes, it should be
because it's a problem. Because if you take out the playoffs, Coach of the Year, I can see it because of everything they went through. However, now it looks worse because they just got mowed down the first round of the playoffs. Even though it's a regular season award, I get it, but doesn't change the fact that it's like, well, they just got their fucking ass kicked.
Right.
Yeah,
like
I'd do that for all the awards, though. But yeah.
Yeah, Dak could have
agree,
thrown for 7,000 yards and 55 touchdowns, and that could have been the game, and he'd still win MVP. And people would be like,
all
what?
people would remember is that
exactly. And people would be like, how would
agree.
he win MVP? He was terrible in the playoffs.
I think it's very dumb sitting on those awards. I think this is an overall problem, is sitting on those awards until later, and then all of a sudden you're making they're like, well, how did Stefanski win Coach of the Year when they just got mowed down? Or how this guy, if Lamar goes out and they shit the bed this weekend, Lamar's probably your MVP, and all of a sudden people are like, well, he sucked in the playoffs, so how come he's getting MVP?
Well, that happened in 2019 when your Titans beat them, and he was still the MVP, but he looked terrible.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, when Titans mowed them down in the wild card round, he won MVP. Yeah, see, that's a problem. I don't think there's any positives for holding it longer. Announce it
after the season. So we're like, okay, gotcha. And then we see the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Albert here's got a good point. Brown's defense just disappeared in that playoff game. No sacks, no pressures. It was a slight surprise how bad they were. Defense was key for Cleveland trying to win. Yeah. Cleveland's defense was – I never really talked about Joe Flacco in the Renaissance, but Cleveland's defense all year was excellent until it wasn't. And they did not show up when it mattered most.
Poor Cleveland fans, man. Is that not the most Cleveland Browns way to end a season? They have this Cinderella run. They start 6 different quarterbacks. I'm exaggerating here, but you know what I mean. They play.
Yep.
My uncle gets a few reps under center, and they somehow manage to get into the playoffs like this, and then the fans get a little bit of buy-in, oh yeah, we're favored, we can do this, look at Joe Flacco, and then not even a fight, dude, just an absolute
not a fight,
behind the woodshed, just getting spanked, man.
Didn't make it 45-32 like the Cowboys made it close-ish.
Yeah, if you look at the Cowboys score, didn't watch the game, you're like, okay, it was whatever. You're like, it was kind of close. It wasn't, but this one, there was no. I think this was just a huge problem all over the league this weekend. Most of the games sucked. Most of the games were massive blowouts.
I think the scriptwriter was like, yo, we're going to have some bad games to start you off. And I'll wait for the divisional, guys. Wait for the divisional. It's hopefully this weekend is a lot better.
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes throwing for 587 yards.
In a loss, like Tom Brady against the Eagles.
I saw this would piss you off, Nick. So they changed those overtime rules after the Chiefs-Bills awesome playoff game from a few years ago.
Yeah.
I saw one today that said, the perfect ending for the NFL scriptwriters is the Bills get the opening kickoff, they score, but because they changed the rules, they can't win on the first kickoff, and then the Chiefs go down, score, and go for 2 and win the game. And, the NFL scriptwriters get it by. I'm like, that is sick. That's some sicko shit. Some real sick stuff.
That's some sick stuff, but I still do like the rule.
The rule's better. The rule is better because that game.
I do think that both teams should touch the ball.
The last 5 minutes in overtime of that game were so unbelievable, and then to just be completely robbed of them even getting the ball back was so stupid.
Have we seen that rule in effect yet? By the way,
I'm sure we have.
We must have seen overtime games last year, right?
Yeah.
I just don't remember it. I don't remember both.
Yeah, if they kick a field goal right away, it's automatic. Like, but
right.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Because isn't the rule different? Is the rule different in the playoffs?
The rule's only in the playoffs. So if you score a touchdown, game's not over. The other team gets the ball.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have. I actually don't know. It's a good question. I kind of forgot that the rule's a little different in the playoffs.
Right. Because if you got a field goal and then the other team scores a touchdown, game over. If you got a touchdown, the other team gets the ball instead of the game being over.
Correct. Those were the worst. What John's talking about here in the comments when just the 3 points could end in overtime.
Oh, dude. God.
Yeah, when there wasn't even a rebuttal for that, and it was just like, so the game. It was just like what a lot of soccer fans complain about when it comes. You play 120 minutes, and then it's going to go down to penalty kicks. Like that's the worst way to decide that sport. Yeah. And you kind of feel the same way. It's like the game comes down to the coin flip at that point.
Mm-hmm. That's like in the NBA. If you go to overtime, and then at the end of the first overtime, whoever makes a 3 first,
whoever wins the tip off.
Yeah.
It's actually whichever one of you who has the tallest guy.
Give it to Buddy Hield, Mr. Fastest 3 in America. Give it to Buddy. Buddy Buckets will do it. Albert, again, good point. Texas defense really won the game.
If you want to allude to it, I did see a rumor of Buddy Hield to the Raptors today.
I've been getting tagged in some Siakam rumors.
Thursdays at 9 p.m. talking that team right there and the rest of the league and some college every now and again. Siakam is going to be a Pacer. The Texans defense was fantastic. They played really, really well. Mm-hmm. Any final comments on those games before I switch it and we preview these last 4 here? And the game sucked. Like outside of one that was pretty good, Lions Rams, and we still got refs involvement. And
yes.
Otherwise, it was just
some boat races.
Here, Kev, I'll let you answer this one. This is the one NBA question we get to tonight. Would Hield or Brown be better for the Raps?
Oh, geez. I don't know that it's gonna matter because they're gonna be. It depends on what else they go out and get, right? So, Buddy's a perimeter shooter. Brown hasn't played this as well this year as he has last year, but he's a better defender. He can score. He can attack the rim, but he's not the shooter that Buddy Hield is. So I would assume I'm assuming we're just building around Scotty Barnes, right? I'd say Hield, I would think, would be a better fit.
Probably.
But it really does depend on who else is there. Keebler, you got any thoughts on that?
Wait, who Brown? Who?
This might
Bruce
be
Brown.
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown or Buddy Hield.
I thought you were saying Jalen for a second. I was like, Jalen Brown.
Bruce Brown wasn't that great last year until
he's available.
I feel like he got paid strictly because of his playoff run with So it's
Pacers fans would agree with you. They're not happy with him.
I'm not really surprised, and I think a change of scenery might be good because I feel like he rushed out of Denver for whatever reason.
So weird. He ran out of there, man.
That's weird.
Got that paycheck.
Like got that paycheck. Money. But I don't know. I saw rumors of like 3 first-round picks plus players for Siakam. I saw Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown, and a first. I saw a couple things. So hopefully for you guys, that 3 first-round pick and players package that I saw is not true.
Do not pass go.
I still unless they're confident at a re-signing, that's the thing. If these rumors are true, then that has to mean that they've had good talks with his people. It's just not a very Pacers move to trade for a rental like this because we don't have a history of keeping these guys.
Yep.
So I'm still very much pressing X to doubt that this trade happens at all. But if it does, I don't think there's any way there's 3 firsts involved. That Hield Brown in a first or something like that. I know they really wanted Jarris Walker early on, but
give him.
I don't love this. I don't love this, by the way. So give him Obi Toppin. That's what I know it's weird because it's Siakam and he's great, but I'm like, I want more time with Obi Toppin and then Jarris Walker. It's like I kind of really like what the Pacers have, and I don't think they're winning a title this year, even if they do add Siakam. So I'm not really in a hurry to make this move personally.
Didn't Obi get moved to the bench? That's all.
Yeah, he's been Carlisle's played with the rotation a lot this year, so it might not be permanent.
Albert says this is why I think NFL's maneuvering on Lions Rams was crucial. They knew it was going to be tight, close to, and put their energies in that matchup and not other. I think it was the best, prime time Sunday night, best game of the weekend. They weren't stupid, had the best storylines. I'm going to pull up this week's schedules for this weekend. We got divisional round this weekend. We'll kind of roll through them, give predictions here quick. Keebler, as our resident gambling expert. Let's see if
I'm just kidding.
expert. I don't like that at all.
I wouldn't call him that.
We'll just stick with what it was. Oh no, I don't usually run the screen. We got Texans Ravens first Saturday. Who do you guys like and why?
You said Saturdays, these games? I would go.
Saturday is Texans Ravens.
Texans Ravens. Don't be surprised when the Ravens steamroll the Texans, in my opinion.
Baltimore opens as a 7.5-point favorite. Yikes.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is a top 5 quarterback, and they did get their Cinderella run, but the Ravens are winning the Super Bowl. So that's where I'm going on that. And then what's the later game that day?
Packers Niners late 8.5 points.
I am taking the Packers plus 9.5 against the Niners.
Or 8.5. That's such a lot. I love the Niners in that game. 8.5 is a lot of points.
I'm taking the Packers plus 9.5.
Yeah. Kev, what do you think on the Saturday game?
Or alt it to 10.5. That way you have that field goal touchdown flexibility.
Yeah, you have the hook there.
I like that. Well, I won't argue against Keebler's picks on those spreads there. I would lean in whatever direction he tells you. But as far as picking these games, just straight up picking the winners, yeah, I'm going with the Ravens over the Texans. No knock against the Texans, and I don't think it will be a blowout. I really do think it'll be a pretty close game.
Hopefully, high scoring is what I'm hoping for. Give me some points.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I'll give me the Ravens, and then give me the Niners in what I think will be a close game. I don't think the Niners are going to look great in this one. If anything, I think people will be continually impressed by the Packers, but it might actually just be that the Niners aren't playing that great on Saturday. That keeps Green Bay in the game.
I feel like the Niners are going to shoot themselves in the foot, and Purdy's going to have one too many turnovers.
Yeah, it just feels like an ugly win where they get where it's like, oh, okay, well, they're not untouchable by any means. That's kind of how I feel that Niners-Packers game going.
Mm-hmm. Nick, you got any thoughts on the Saturday slate?
Yeah, I definitely love the Houston with the points. I actually have them winning the game.
Nice.
I can't trust Baltimore after what I saw in that 2019 14-2. Tennessee comes in and just boat races them. I see that. I see that in my mind.
Did you see them manhandle the Niners the other day? I just want to make sure we're talking about the same team here.
The other day, it was like 4 weeks.
Whenever it was,
yeah.
The other game.
They also manhandled.
Here's the deal. They took that boat though. They took that boat, and the last time OBJ took a boat, his team got waxed out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah,
that was your Giants fan.
You know,
too soon, man.
The Ravens also manhandled every team in 2019, and then so I have Houston winning this game, and then I also have the Niners. You guys are saying it's gonna be close. I think it'll be close early. I think the Niners pull away late. I got like a 34-23 type game.
Mm-hmm. I like that the slate. We got the comment there too. The NFL's better matchups in the divisional round for sure. Sunday, the scroll down. The unexpected Buccaneers travel to the Lions, and then we got the mega big games Sunday night rematch playoff games of years past. Bills Chiefs, Bucks Lions. Kev, who do you like? Does the Baker Mayfield train continue to roll?
Bucks Lions. This is the hardest one to pick. I think
6.5-point favorites. Detroit is.
I think this is a lot easier to pick than you might think.
I'm going with the Lions.
That's where I was going to.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be like a Miami situation where they're not used to playing in the cold. That's really good.
It's inside.
Oh yeah, the Lions are indoors though.
Dome City.
Is it a heated dome or is it just a dome?
It's heated. It's Ford Field. It's one of the nicer domes we have.
And they're constantly firing up hot and readies in that place. It's like Little Caesar City up there. So
It's not good. They're not going to play in the AC. Like,
well, no,
It is.
I didn't know if like they had heaters or if it was just like a temperature, I guess, quote unquote neutral stadium.
okay, so that you think they're going to be in the dome, but it's still going to be 10 degrees out. Like,
well, if it was at Lucas Oil, fucking, who would open the top? He'd open.
I know.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody like blow smoke in a dome before. So it's going to be warm.
Don't go to Lucas Oil because whatever that thing is the owner you can't trust him.
Well, yeah.
Coldest day of the game me and Kev went to just happened to be freezing cold, and they opened everything up for God knows what.
Yeah, Mr. Earsay runs hot, man. So he'll be like, the roof's closed, but the windows are open. But most of the time, what's it, 45? Oh yeah, roof's open, pal.
80. It's 80 degrees out. It's September. Closed.
What are you talking about? It's like it's not raining or anything.
Beautiful outside.
No way.
So I think we all like the Lions there, and then big one Sunday night. I will give you. The floor is yours, Nick. Have at it. Rematch, Bills, Chiefs. Going to be cold as shit. Looks like 20 degrees. You're going to be in the stands screaming and throwing snowballs at every Chiefs receiver that tries to catch the ball in the end zone, which is probably going to mess with them because they can't catch the ball anyway.
No, I'm going to let Keebler just take the Chiefs and make my night great. I've been not picking any Bills games, not talking about any Bills games. I don't want to talk.
Okay, he doesn't talk. He passes the buck to Keebler. Okay. So Keebler, go ahead and prove him
All right,
wrong.
The Chiefs are going to win this game. We're going to see another Rice legacy game for
Rice
sure.
Really good,
I don't think Kelsey's really going to do anything. He hasn't really been much this year. I feel like it's going to be a pretty defensive game, but I think that the Chiefs can pull away probably either 24-21 or 27-24.
I like it. Kev.
Anthony
Richardson's Stan account.
I am going to pick the Buffalo Bills with this one.
Buffaloes.
I don't exactly know how it's going to work. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I feel like it's finally going to be their time. They're going to beat the Chiefs here. I really do.
They're finally at home for it, so maybe.
And this Chiefs team, it's one of those things. Like I feel like that guy who kept predicting Tom Brady would retire all the way back in like 2017 or
Max
something.
Kellerman?
Yeah, there you go. Yes, I feel like that. Where I'm just like, man, why am I betting against these guys again in this situation? But I know they just had a breakout, but outside of that, there just hasn't been the same explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball. And I just think the Bills at home, I like them in a very close game. Give me the Bills by 3 or by 4.
I do want to note we're getting a lot of defensive guys back this week. So Rasul Douglas will be back. Christian Benford will be back. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
When your fans come to scoop the stadium out, it's good karma. Like guys, they're paying them $20 an hour. It's good karma. Give me Bills in a tight one, but I like their play. I like a little more explosive. And if Rashee Rice doesn't show up, then the Chiefs are going to have to find somebody else to catch the ball. And Scantling doesn't. They throw the ball at him, and he just wants a penalty every time and watches it land right in front of him. He can just catch the ball and take it for a touchdown.
I wish we had those like ESPN graphics where who we choose like goes over our face.
Yeah, can we?
Yeah, get on that. Kev's the guy.
I'll work on that.
Kev's the tech wizard. Got a few more comments here. We got Albert saying Lions over Bucks by 2 to 3 points. Lions can score consistently. Bucks can't outside field goals. Niners over Green Bay by 3 to 4 points. Big day needed for Samuel McCaffrey and Purdy. Can't turn the ball over. So would not. I don't think anybody's going to disagree there.
No,
so appreciate everybody that came through. There was a lot tonight. Guys, where can they find you outside of here? Kev, Keebler, Nick, you want to let us know where they can find you out here, and then we'll talk. We'll send you guys out of here. Almost 2 hours, boys. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I'll let Nick go first because I know he's got to be up for work tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it says under my name, Buffalo Times on Instagram. I mean, I've been posting over there for 5 years, so it's been a good year.
Buffaloes, baby.
Yeah, it's been a good year. Again, a lot of collabs with people. It's been fun. So You can follow me over there if you want. Don't really care if you don't. So you can have a good time.
Nick, Buffalo Burn pinned my comment on one of his posts.
Yeah, he likes you a lot. He likes you.
I DM'd him. I'm like, just so you know, I'm just trolling to get you engaged. And he was like, I love that.
Yeah.
Keebler, where at, buddy? I know you're the big Knicks stop guy. You're the biggest Knicks account on the interwebs. So tell them where they can find you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually collab with, I think, the biggest Knicks account on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, from time to time. So we have to get back active on Instagram. But that being said, I'll probably look out for a post tomorrow just because I want to get back on there. So at the Knicks Stop on Twitter and Instagram is where you can find me.
We gotta go to game soon.
Kev, you were the late joiner, but where can all our people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at KevNevic_. You can find three of us here, me, James, and Keebler, on Thursday, 9 p.m. talking NBA. So more of that NBA talk you like, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
And I'll save the other one for James. And then, the Carnage Unleashed podcast is back right now. We're on Monday nights. I hear we might be moving to a different night soon. But, hey, everything that's going on in the world of combat sports, go find us there. We collaborate with Wade from Carnage Media and Clayton from Hot Take Sports. So sure, check it out. And then, of course, as always, the Clout Route, where I am doing my best to not get canceled every Tuesday and Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m.
Canceled. I can't fucking wait.
Dude, if it wasn't this last one, we might be okay. We might just skate through.
Please check those guys out. Thank you, Albert, Bite Size Vike, Jen Will. We had a mega huge chat tonight. We've got Only Mistakes, Max, Kyle, Nate. A lot of people stopped in tonight. You can catch me here. We'll be back next Tuesday talking divisional round. You can catch us Thursday on the bounce. You can also catch me and Kev Wednesdays, 9 p.m. talking Star Wars, which I still got to get up. I got to do a thumbnail tonight. I just reminded myself. So 2 hours in. Nick's got to get to bed. He's got to work tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next week. We are back.
My boys.
Take care.